Hello, my name is Professor John Benjamin, and this is West Virginia Wesleyan College, and this is Motion Graphics. And today we're going to learn how to create a walking cycle in the most basic way, just using parenting. Let's begin. Alright, so in the last episode, we learned how to create a character and how to break it down into its proper layers and trying to give them proper names. Alright, so with this saved, I'm going to move over to After Effects. And I'm going to go ahead and say File, Import, File. And I'm going to import Norb and the Red Shorts, and I'm going to make sure this is unchecked. Change Footage to Composition, Retain Layer Sizes, and say Import. And then what will happen is I'll get all of those individual layers as separate files here. And the first thing we want to do is go ahead and align all of Norb's center points or anchor points. Alright, so first off you want to make sure snapping is on, and then you hit Y to go to your anchor point tool, which is also right here. And I'm just going to move all the anchor points down to the bottom here. The neck piece, the upper torso, lower torso, shorts, they look fine. Toe, heel, heel, toe. And for the hands, go ahead and move it up to the wrist. And elbow, elbow, shoulder, shoulder. Okay, alright, so all of our anchor points are in place. Now we're going to parent. So let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. And let's close these two up. Alright, and to make the parenting a little easier, it's probably good to put this in some sort of order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put things that need to go in the front layers in front. And so I'm going to put the pupils on top. Alright, and then I'm going to put the head underneath those, and then the neck. And let's go torso upper, torso lower, and hips. And then now this arm here, which is the right arm, needs to go above the torso. It needs to be in front. So I'm going to put right arm, forearm, and right hand above the torso. And then just below the torso and the hips, I'm going to put the left arm and left forearm and then the foot. I'm going to link both those eyes to the head and the mouth to the head as well. I guess no, the head will go to the neck. And then the neck will go to the torso upper. And right arm will go to torso upper, forearm will go to right arm, hand will go to forearm. And then down here to torso upper, now this is important, we probably should create a null object. So let's go Layer, New, and Null Object. And I like to put that right at the top. And now the torso upper should be linked to the null object. Okay, and now we're down to torso lower, which can be linked to torso upper, and hips to torso lower, left arm to torso upper, forearm to left arm, hand to forearm, and left thigh to hips, and left calf to thigh, and put that up there, foot. Great, now everything's properly parented, so let's see what happens with proper parenting. Alright, so first of all, if we want to move Norb, or your character, you can just click on the null object, and so that's how we can move him around. But you can see now, though, if I go ahead and I select the upper arm, like so, and then I hit rotate, the hand and the lower arm will rotate with it, and then I can go ahead and select the forearm and rotate that. Okay, and then the hand will move with that, and then I can go to the hand and the hand. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to move him back over here by selecting my null object. And I believe I have this available in Canvas, but I'm going to ask you to go ahead and bring in this walk cycle picture into your project. All right, here it is. I'm going to drag it right onto my right onto the stage here. And I'm going to flip it around, and then I'm just going to scale it to sort of fill up this space. Great. And I'm going to put it on the top layer here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it down the opacity a little bit, like so. So you can kind of see through it like that. Yeah, good. And then I'm going to lock it. And so then I can line up null here, or I should say Norb. And I'm going to line him up right there. His eyes with that red line look pretty good. And I can scale all of Norb a little bit here too. But instead of scaling Orb, I'm going to go ahead and just change the shape of this a little bit to fit him better. Yeah, there we go. It's pretty good. Right about there. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is show hide things that I'm not working with. So I'm not going to be working with the eyes right now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off all the stuff for the eyes and the mouth. And I'm not going to be working with the torsos either, or the hips at this moment. And then also, I'm just going to leave the feet and the toes alone. And that looks pretty good. And so then I'm going to go hit my little hide all layers, my shy. Arm and forearms. That's all I need, and thighs and calves. Okay, so that's all I really need. So I'm going to select each of these. I'm going to hold the shift key down and select them all. And then I'm going to hit R, and that's going to open up all the rotations on them. And so then I'm going to, with them all selected, I'm going to hit the stopwatch, and then that will make keyframes for all of it. And then I'm going to set a bunch of keyframes 10 frames apart. So to move up 10 frames, it's Command-Shift left arrow. And for me and you on the PCs, it's Control-Shift left arrow. And that moves your playhead or your CTI up 10 exactly. So then I can go ahead now, after moving up 10, and click on the new anchor point. And then I'm just going to go up 10, and I'm going to add more anchor points. Up 10, and add more anchor points. And what I'm going to do here is I just want to start with my initial resting place here, which I'm actually going to put in motion. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, because this position is the same as the first one. And so we're just going to duplicate that. So I only need 4 anchor points for each of these different spots. All right, the next thing we're going to do is work with the null object here. Oh, we didn't put any anchor points up for null. Okay, so let's do null position and stopwatch. And we can just move up and frame, up and frame, up and frame. All right, so let's just see what the rough distance is there. So I've got about, he's at about 1600 here. It's good to have even numbers. It's easier to work. So we're starting at 1600. And then if I move up, roughly 1200. So about 400 between each of them, plus or minus. And so the next one should be 800, roughly. And it's off a little bit, but again, even numbers are easier to work with. And then the last one, that should be 400. And again, a little bit off, but close enough. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start moving stuff. So here's the upper arm. This swings back. So I've got all my rotates open, so I can just go ahead and rotate that back a little bit, and right beneath it, I'm just going to straighten out that lower arm. And same thing with the left arm. It's going to swing out a little bit, and that looks pretty good. The left leg, left thigh is in a good position. So let's work on, well, that is the left thigh. Wait, it's my right thigh. Okay, I've got this mislabeled. Okay, it's fine. If I'm looking at it in a mirror, it's left. Okay, so this is the left thigh. We're going to turn that up. It's going to take a big step here and rotate the calf back. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's move to the next position. Here we've got this arm. We're going to rotate that way forward. Maybe bend the elbow a little bit. And then the other arm is going to go way back. And maybe bend that elbow a little bit. And this thigh is going to go back. And this thigh is going to go forward. That's pretty good. All right, and the next one, we've got this arm swinging back a little bit. And it looks like this leg is coming up and is bent. I'm going to move this leg back a little. All right, and then we're going to move to the next position where this leg, I think I got that right? this leg here is going to go into a walking position here, like so, and then this leg is going to come back. This arm is going to turn back, and we're going to bend the elbow a little bit. And this arm forward just a little and bend that elbow. All right, and let's see what that looks like. All right, he's walking pretty good. Cool. All right, so if we want him to keep walking, all we need to do is duplicate some of these anchor points. And so you can see the next position is the starting position right here. So all I need to do is go ahead and select my CTI, hit Control Shift to the left so I go up 10, and then I can simply select the first row of anchor points right here, select that one anyway, and say Control C and Control V. I can say Control C, Control V for each of these first anchor points. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, so on and so forth. But now, of course, this last position needs to change. So here, I'm at 400, so I really need to go down here to, looks like 0. So let's type in 0, and that's the last position. So let's see if he fits properly with that. Ready? Yeah, he should go into the next walking position, so we can do that as well. So I'm going to say Control Shift and move up 10, and then we're going to do the same thing with this second position. So Control CV, Control CV. Okay, and then the same thing now here. We're at 0, so I should be at about negative 400 here, I believe. Let's try it. Minus 400. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, let's see if we get a full walking motion off of the stage. Pretty good. All right, now the last thing that we want to do is notice that when the legs come way out, the body should actually go down. All right, so we're going to change the position of the X position here, which is at 714 across the bar. And on every second one, we're going to lower that a little. So we're going to bring it down to 730. It looks good. Nice even number. Right, and I'm just going to skip that one, go to that one, type 730. And the same thing for the last one, which is off screen, but we'll still see that motion. Great, and now we should have a little bob. I'm going to go ahead and turn off that this layer here so we can see it a little bit better. All right, deselect and play. Great, and there's a walking cycle. Okay, and we can add motion blur to that and make it look a little bit better, but essentially he's doing a good job. I feel like the hands, no, they did all right there. Yeah. And he's pretty stiff. We'd want to add a little bit more life to him, and we can do that with the pin tool. And we can bob his head and give him a little bit more life. But that's the basic walking cycle in keyframes. So the most basic way to do it. And so now one of two things, we can have him walk across the stage, or we can have him walking in place, and then we can move him on the set in different places. So to do that, though, what I would need to do is go back here to each of these positions, and let's say I'll put him in a position that's right in the middle, so that's right here. So that is position 800. And so what I need to do then is I just need to go back and set all of these to 800. Okay, and then what we have is he's walking in motion, or he's watching, and he's just static. And so what I can do at this point is, then that has the head bobs as well. So I can go ahead and put my CTI here and say Control Shift and go up 10. And then what I'll do is I'll select all of these and I'll say Control. So I'm going to move it up. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2. I want to select 3 and 4. So I'm going to say copy paste. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to select these two, copy paste. These two, copy paste. These two, copy paste. Oops. Oops, wrong ones. All right, and that's a two full cycles. So 1, 2, do. Oh, no, something happened there. I'm not done yet. There's two more down here. Okay. Oh, gotta go make sure we're back here on the right line. Copy, paste, and copy, paste. Okay, now that's everybody, I think. Let's try that. 2 cycles. 1, 2, 1, 2. Great. All right, so now I have him here in the walking cycle. I can go back to my comp 1, and I can drag the walking cycle on here, and I can go ahead and then animate it. I can have him come off the screen or off the stage. Go ahead and change the position, and I'll go up to 1 frame here and add a keyframe, and I'm just going to go ahead and shift drag him so he's off the screen. Yeah, let's see how that looks. Now, he's walking a little too fast there. Okay, so let's slow that down. Yeah, right there's good. Let's try that. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then he ran out of frames there. I could duplicate that, and we could repeat and recycle it. But you get the idea. He's just walking right along. And then we can also do this if I remove the keyframes and I put this back in the center. We can create a little background, and you should create this in Illustrator. But let's say I just want to create, some hills here. They're pretty sad hills. But just for learning's sake. Just gonna put those there, and I'm going to move those below him, below Norb, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a keyframe for their position here. It's about there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to, actually let's do this. I'm going to move them forward a little bit right there. And then let's go to the end and move them back to there. They're going to move down a little. All right, and then we'll play that through. And so there's Norb walking along with a little pair of legs. Great. And that's how that's done. Next time, the next session, we'll talk about how to do a walking cycle with rigging, and it gives you a lot more control. So this is a little tedious, animating all the different parts. But there's 2 ways to do it, and I'll show you a better way that's a little more complicated next time. All right, so good luck with that.